In this time of increased tensions, in time when we're seeing the contentious issues of race relations, xenophobia, and extremism, ideological extremism, both at home and abroad, we're seeing a great pressure, being exerted on our foundation as a country and the fabric of our country. And so I think the work is as important as ever. My grandfather, my grandmother, my father, my mother, my wife, and I were all uprooted and driven from our homes and became refugees. And so the story of 3 generations of displacement is something that I grew up with, knowing both from a roots standpoint as well as a lived experience. I spent 3.5 years in a Kenya refugee camp called Dadaab, and after that my family was sponsored to come to the United States in 1994. As we all recognize, I think there is a significant room for diversity in our leadership, philanthropy, and civic sector in general. So I'm helping immigrant leaders connect, become boards and staff and grantees, effective grantees of foundations. So really in an attempt to help change the face of leadership in philanthropy and in our civic community. Thirdly, I am very interested in creating economic identity for people who have been marginalized economically. And what I mean by that is there is 2.7 billion people around the world who are completely excluded from the global economic ecosystem. So in other words, they exist, but they don't really exist economically because they are not connected to the global economy. They don't transact, they don't have access to markets, finances. They are unbanked, including the 68 million people in this country, but also refugees around the world. As you know, we have worst refugee crisis in the world with 65 million people who are refugees and displaced. What they are missing most is an opportunity to make life, an opportunity to connect to markets and finances, and so my work involves in creating, making sure that everyone participates in the global economy, whether you are based in Minneapolis or you're based in the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, or you're in the Tariq camp fleeing from the Syrian civil war. So I'm deeply passionate and deeply engaged in the work of creating economic opportunities and really making a dent in a system that was meant to be exclusive to begin with of many people. So really changing the systems and rules that marginalize a lot of communities. When I was fleeing from war, and I was in a refugee camp, I lost the opportunity and the freedom to imagine. I was concerned about the basics: food, water, shelter, safety of my family, but never really had an opportunity to imagine. I think we can all imagine. I think we have the potential, the power to imagine for a better future for all of us.